Okay, so just a few things with your page. If you want to show the full page, you do Control 0, and that will show you the full screen that you're working on. Control plus will zoom in, Control minus can zoom out, and you can also select the zoom tool from the tool palette, and you can just click and drag over the area that you want to zoom into. I can see when I do zoom in, it's not the best resolution, but it is probably the best that I'm going to get off the internet for now. So now what we're doing is we're going to trace. So the reason that it's good to have the green screen is because it gives you a background that you can easily cut out around. And in some programs, you can make it automatically sort of disappear. But for this, we can't. So there's a few different things that we can do here. We can use the pen tool to trace around it. We can use the magnetic lasso tool, which is the easiest, but it can get out of control pretty quickly as well. So you have to work slowly with this. So what you do is you start dragging around. And so what it's doing is it's selecting. Now you can see I've gone off task a little bit. So you can go back later and clean that up. So I'm just going around. Now, the closer you are when you're working on this, the better, because it means your tracing will be much more refined. So I'll trace around it and then I'll show you how to clean it up a bit. So this is just sort of hooking onto the edge, and that's why it's good to have some decent contrast. Don't forget the feet. Bit hard to see what's happening in there, so I'll go around here. Whoops, and then it ran away from me. And then you have to try and get back to the start. When you get back to the start, you can see a little circle there. So I'm going to click and see it shows you a selection. Now I can see there's some bits there that have sort of gone too far, but I can clean that up later. As long as I've got things like his ears in there, I haven't chopped them off. Let's have a look. So his ears are there, but there's a bit extra as well. I'll clean that up after. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go select and inverse, and I'll zoom out so you can see what's happened. So you can see here that it has selected all of the screen now. So you can see this broken line going all the way around, and that's exactly what you want, because we want to keep the Pope, but we want to remove the background, which is all these other people that are with him. Before you do that, you need to make sure that you've got the layer highlighted that you're actually working on. You don't want to cut out the background. So if I was on this one here, I'd be cutting out the background that I want to keep. So make sure you've selected the right layer. So after you've done select and inverse, then hit the backspace key twice, not just once. So hitting the backspace once cuts it away with some bitmap lines. Hitting it twice softens the cut, so it blurs it a little bit. So it makes it a little bit softer. And then to deselect, just Control D, and it deselects. So now you can see it's a little bit messy in there. There are other ways that I could have shown you to cut away more, but I want to make it as easy as possible for you. So there's another thing, there's an eraser tool which you could use. So let's go to that. Now look how big this eraser would be. So that would rub away way too much. And what it does, it also does a bit of bleed, so it feathers it so you don't get a hard edge. So we've got to make that eraser tool much, much smaller. So up the top here, you should have a circle here. See how it's blurred around the edge? It's showing you that when it erases, it gives you a blurred erase. If it's not showing this information up here, just go to Window, Workspace, and Reset Essentials. And then that will bring in some basic things that we use. So I'm going to make the size smaller. So I click up the top, move the size, hold it over to see the size. Probably still too big, because you don't just get that area, it bleeds as well. So let's hold down the mouse and just see what happens. So then you can go in and gently, can take a bit of control to get this right. You can go around the edges to smooth it away, and you can just keep working. If you need to get into little tight areas, then you can always make your brush smaller. If you're doing big areas, you can make your brush bigger so you get it done faster. So I would like to try and remove the dirty black outline that I have there. It doesn't look very appealing at all.